Zus, hallo?
Bist du sicher wegen dem?
Ja, iets niet, joh.
Two outlaws on the lam, taking the back roads through America.
You can't drink enough coffee for this show.
And now it's time for Monday Madness with the Moped Outlaws, Greg and Mark.
We did it. We finally got to have this really cool conversation. Welcome, Tara.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good. I'm great. Greg's frozen and muted, but we'll carry on as best we can. Where are you coming to us from in the world right now?
I am in Birmingham at the moment. You can hear me now, can you?
Yes, Birmingham what?
Birmingham, England.
Fantastic.
I have been traveling for about 2 days, so I ended up in Birmingham at the moment. I'm going to Nottingham tomorrow, and eventually I get home to Ireland, Donegal, in about 9 days' time.
Greg is having trouble with power at home. He's on the line. Right, I got it. So log in via your phone. Oh wait, but we're probably not live if you're not broadcasting. No, it's still showing live here. So, okay, this is great. Everyone in the world, we've had like the most challenging technical difficulties. And so I'm just going to ask the question. There's something about St. Patrick's Day that we know, like everyone knows about leprechauns, but
They're here today.
Pranksterism, right? They're likely to create havoc in your life, right?
Well, it's definitely evident from our conversation so far. Our first conversation that we tried to have last week, and then again now.
And so, what's the tradition behind that idea? So, explain a little bit for our audience how that works.
Well, I suppose the fairy folk were always seen as these kind of underworld characters, that they would live in hawthorn trees or kind of around hawthorn kind of trees. And so at home, you wouldn't cut down a hawthorn tree. If there was any building works going on, it would be seen as very, very bad luck to cut down a hawthorn tree or a blackthorn tree. And yeah, because you would be putting the curse of the fairies on you.
So when the curse of the fairies is on you, do you get technical difficulties?
I presume so. I wondered, did I cut down a branch or something recently?
No, I didn't, not knowingly anyway.
Exactly.
Well, welcome to the show. It's been quite a bit of chaos to get you here, but we're really glad you are able to join us. I know you've been super busy. And you just got back from New York where you won 3 podcasting awards. What awards did you win?
I won five podcasting awards. Yeah.
Well, what categories?
There was 3 Audience Choice Awards and 2 Libby Awards, which are the adjudicated awards. So there was the Best Entertainment and Pop Culture Award. Hi, Greg.
Hello.
There was. So I won actually both the audience vote and the Libby Award for that, the entertainment and pop culture. I also won the Best Interview Award. That was an Audience Choice Award, and Best Society and Culture Award. That was for audience vote. And then I also the 2 adjudicated awards was the entertainment and pop culture and the special category or special recognition music podcast award. So yeah.
Wow, that's tremendous. How long have you been doing your podcast?
Only since last July, so 8 months or something, 8 or 9 months.
That's amazing. And the podcast itself is built around the ideas of session etiquette in Irish music groups. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if you're sitting in a pub and there's a music session in the corner, there is, I suppose, if you're going to join any new group or any kind of group dynamics, there's always that kind of an etiquette while joining something that exists before you. So that was something that people didn't really want to talk about. It was kind of like a taboo subject. So I kind of grasped the nettles there recently and decided to talk about it.
It's a good thing because more and more our society is under the influence of technology, and less we're having the kinds of human grace and what we call here in the States manners that provide for social lubrication for us all to have a rich experience. And here in the States, if you're in a living room with a bunch of acoustic instruments, it is a bit of a free-for-all. And the tradition in Ireland goes back many hundreds of years, doesn't it?
Well, the tradition of Irish music does, but actually the sessions doesn't. That's quite a new phenomenon. It kind of happened during the ballad boom. Really, it was kind of moved into the public houses. Before that, it might have been, you might have had like a duet or something, or wouldn't have been a big session where there would be maybe 10 people playing, or 6 people, or 20 people even sometimes. That's kind of more recent. Even though people kind of think it's been going on for hundreds of years. Yeah, but the music has. But I think the sessions actually started in London. That's where an Irish music session started in the 60s.
And when you say the ballad, in the 60s, so the ballad era corresponds to the 1960s?
I think so, yeah. So it's about 65 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, about that. And I was reading up on it a bit, and you're not just a hostess of a podcast, but you're a player, aren't you?
I am, yeah. That's what I've mostly been all my life. I play the fiddle, or some people call it the violin, but I play the fiddle, yeah. So, and I just, to me, being on the road, and playing on stages, it had a certain appeal for the start, and then you just get tired of living in a suitcase. So I would prefer to then just be playing in sessions in Ireland with really, really high quality musicians, and you could be playing with different people every night. So if you're on a stage, you're kind of playing with the same people all the time, frequently. So I would just get bored. So I did get bored, and then I just decided to stay in sessions.
And were you a successful touring musician? And what does that look like? What is success? How would you define that?
For me, success looks like that you're happy, and I was miserable. Yeah, I would have played I suppose maybe if I was playing with bands, it would have been easier. I had been kind of mostly playing with dance shows and like kind of a river dance shows, and um, it's not like you're playing. It's almost like you're playing something fake because it's very set every night. It's the same thing all over again, and that would just bore the life out of me. So I gave up after about 2.5 years or something. That's all I stuck at it.
So in the session environment, there's certain kinds of songs that you play, right? There's, for instance, a good session might start off with the Kesh jig, right? But
It could do.
within that, is there room to play with the melody and the accompaniment a little bit, and for the tune to grow and shift and change?
There is, but Irish music has quite there's boundaries, but there's also you can innovate within those boundaries. So we're not quite as restrictive as maybe a classical music, but we're not quite as open as jazz music. We're somewhere in the middle where we kind of have the boundaries. So you wouldn't kind of change especially if you're playing a session, you wouldn't change the framework of it. So it's normally like 8 bars of 8, plus 8 bars. Most parts have 8 bars, and you repeat that, and that's kind of the normal structure. So you wouldn't change that because you have to keep it it's a teamwork. So you can't kind of move out of something that's going to affect the team. But if you're kind of to bounce off each other, that's where it really kind of works. Where you're like, oh, you played it, that note, and I wouldn't have thought of that note. Oh, and I'm going to play it the next time, and so that's why I love playing in sessions, because it's so creative. But I like that you have boundaries. So I like being creative within boundaries.
Yeah, that's something I like as well. Have you had sessions where someone might shift to a perfect harmonic of the melody, and you go from playing the melody to then someone's accompaniment is in the harmonic, i.e. a harmony to the melody? Is that common?
Counter melodies wouldn't be as common, but definitely like the accompaniment. So like guitars, or harps or bazookas would have a, they'd have a chordal structure behind it. So, yeah, then if you're playing with somebody that you haven't been playing with before and they have a different chord and something, you're like, or they'd be going, oh, I'm not too sure I like that. And then they hear it again, you go, actually, it's growing on me. And you kind of play. So I would play chords quite frequently on it in the session as well, but it wouldn't be chords the whole way through. It would just be sporadic chords, maybe on the beat the odd time or on the last note or yeah, but it wouldn't be continuous. Melody, kind of counter melodies. It might just be a very subtle thing. We're quite subtle. I think that's the word I would use around Irish music. Everything's very subtle.
That's wild, because for me, my idea of Irish music is there's cacophony's not quite the right word, but it's rambunctious.
Rambunctious, I love it. Yeah, it's full, and but we're at the same time we're all really playing the same melody. But it's a bit like we have a saying here called Chinese whispers. Where what do you call it? Oh, somebody told me recently, where when you talk to somebody, you whisper something in somebody's ear beside you, and then it goes around. You whisper it around, and it comes back to you. You go, that's not what I said.
Right, telephone. We call it here telephone.
Telephone. That's right. So sessions are a bit like that. We all have a slightly different version, but they're all, so like the skeleton is very similar, or if you think of it as a Christmas tree or a skeleton, but the meat and bones are different, or the decorations on the skeleton are different. But they're all, at the same time, it's all the same base, the same core, but with slightly different kind of decorations. So, yeah.
So in that environment, in the pub environment, with and from what it sounds like, could be anywhere from 3 to 15 musicians gathered about with pints and whiskey and various other types of libations. How does one create revenue?
Sometimes it would be maybe core musicians within that. So you could have maybe 3 musicians who are being paid to be there. Musicians don't earn an awful lot of money in sessions. They probably earn a little bit more money on stages outside of Ireland. It's not you're not going into it for the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the way. St. Patrick's Day would be our biggest earner. So today is the day where most musicians make their most money.
And are you planning to head to a gig after this?
I might try and pop my head in somewhere to a session en route, because I do have my fiddle, because I've just got back from New York, so I have the fiddle with me.
Fantastic.
Did you find a session in New York?
I did. Actually, there was loads, but I only got to go to one session. I had my mother with me, so she wouldn't love being in pubs environments late at night. So
Okay.
I had very early nights when I was there, apart from one session. So I went to Grace's Bar, is it? It was great. It was on the Wednesday night. It was lovely.
So were there
really,
any,
really good musicians.
were there any prizes other than the trophy associated with the podcast awards you won?
We have had some training as well. They have been given, but that was to everybody, whether they were nominated or not. They got some network training, which was kind of cool. I'd never really had training in that before, although I think I'm pretty good at networking sometimes. So depends on my mood. I think we all kind of depends on our mood, whether we're good at training or not.
Sometimes we don't want to talk to people. Sometimes we do.
Totally.
And we all have been in that networking situation where someone comes up to you and the first thing out of their mouth is what they want to sell you, which is no good, right? That's no way to build a network. That's simply like spamming people in real life, right?
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the amazing opportunities for this conversation is that a couple of California Americans can iron out some of our misconceptions and really get a deeper understanding of what St. Patrick's Day, pardon me, means to Irish folks. And it's a big holiday. We all know that. And from my understanding, there's a religious portion to it, the whole idea of St. Patrick and what the Catholics did in Ireland. And then there's the fanciful idea of the fairy folk, as you called them earlier, and those sorts of things. So starting with the fairy folk, how did you come to know about the kinds of fairy folk and the legends and those kinds of things in your own life? And how has that impacted you?
I would have had access to some of the older musicians that would have passed away in the recent years. In my local area would have been the Campbells, and Jimmy and Vincent Campbell would have carried stories about the fairies to, to the younger generation. So they would have talked about, oh, we play this tune now because this is in respect to the fairies, or we play this, or don't play that tune there, or don't do this, or there's kind of almost like etiquette around fairies as well. There is etiquette around fairies actually. So I suppose we would call them pishogues in Irish. The English word being what's the English word? Not curses, but like the old sayings or old ways.
Okay.
So like there's where I live, there's a field about maybe 500 meters past, so maybe less than half a mile from my house, and they say that field has like a Loch Ness monster kind of thing, or you can't go in there. There's monsters in there. So, but I mean, it probably was to ward off the youngsters, the children. Don't go into that field because it's very, very deep with bog. So you would get lost. The monster would kind of steal the children. So there was recently we mentioned it to somebody, a local guy, and he said, oh, and like this guy's in his late 50s, and he says, oh no, I wouldn't go into that. I wouldn't go in there now. That's there's the monster in there. So it's still it's still alive and well.
One of my dear friends here in California, absolutely, fairies are a part of her life, and it's not fantastical; it's real.
Okay. Yeah.
And well, so that's what I'm wondering. In your experience, are there people that the fairy folk is a very real aspect to life?
I think definitely around the music, people would still say, "Oh, this tune, like the fairy reel." You would say, "Well, that one is associated with the fairies," and supposedly there was a night where, people were out at a party and they encountered the fairies on the way home. So you would kind of still like those kind of stories would definitely be still recounted and told at sessions.
Did you happen
I don't know.
Did you see the movie Sinners?
No.
It's fantastic. And one of the elements of it is how a great musician is a bit of a shaman. And they are able to call in spirits from other realms. Like the veil between physical and spiritual becomes very thin with a great musician. And and Irish music happened to be very prevalent with the music of the film, along with Southern blues. Have you experienced that in your own life, this mystical quality to music and musicianship?
I think when I'm playing with other musicians in sessions, I mean, there's a space where that I go to that is like I'm not in the room anymore, and maybe that those kind of experiences happen up there. I can't say that I have met any of the fairies, although I'd love to go in search of them. I think supposedly they all kind of went underground and are keeping they are keeping themselves to themselves now, supposedly.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
And there's an aspect of them, if I understand right, that can be very beneficial, right? There's this idea of a leprechaun in a pot of gold. But there's also a very mischievous part of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the more mischievous tales that you've learned over the years?
Oh, God, I have to think about this one now. The mischievous tales. I mean, they were like supposedly they're kind of full of devilment in a good way, as in not do anything bad, but they well unless they put a curse on you or they decided that you'd done something really bad. But otherwise they're kind of it reminds me of my other half. At times he'll just turn the clock upside down. So I'm thinking of those kind of things. They do kind of like little mischievous things. They like move things around. That's the kind of stories that I've heard that they mostly do. But it reminds me of my other half because he does that as well.
Yes, my father says that
Well,
when he can't find something, he thinks perhaps that some mischievous little fairy person has moved it to cause him a little.
Exactly. Yeah,
What were you going to say,
totally.
Greg?
well, I was just thinking of that Disney movie, Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that with Sean Connery?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And there was an element of the mischievousness that I recall was usually meant to spur a person to be their better self.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I suppose it's kind of like the folk legends, and the stories that are centuries and centuries old, that are kind of passed down, that help us kind of make sense of the world, really.
Right,
That's probably.
And so, what part
right.
do those stories play in
Question
your
for
life?
both of you.
Could you repeat that? Sorry.
My question for you, Tara, was what part do those old stories play in your life? Do you give them much creed? Are they something you seek out or not?
Um, I do like them when it's kind of to do with the music. Do I think of them when it's like interferes with my own life, the living of my life? I'm not sure. Um, but for the stories of around the music, yeah, I love when it's kind of the stories around certain tunes, or this one was played at a wedding of the fairies, or that kind of thing. So I love the kind of the background of this
Hmm.
of the tune, the kind of tune names. But when it starts to interfere with my day-to-day living, I'm like,
Okay, I have a small list of some of the songs that are common to sessions, and I'm going to
right.
go through them and ask you if you know a story that goes with them.
Oh, you give me
Okay?
all the hard questions today. It's all hard questions.
Welcome to the Moped Outlaws. It's a fun ride. So there's one that is a standard called The Maid Behind the Bar. Are you familiar with it?
I am, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the origin, background, sort of what's the history behind that song that, as you are aware of, and why is it such a standard?
Um, the reason I think it's such a standard tune is because it's in the key of D, which is always a good key. It's an easy key to play in. Diddle daddy diddle 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 daddy dum, diddle 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 dum. That's the tune. It's easy for newcomers to get their head around. The melody is kind of simple-ish melody, and especially if you're learning on the fiddle or the flute, it doesn't span too many octaves. So it's a good one to kind of, I wouldn't say to start off with, but it's a good one to kind of, as you're kind of getting into your intermediate, that's a good tune to start learning. But it's great, there's great lift in it as well. So Irish music is all about dance. It's a dance music. So if if it's a real good bouncy tune, and that you can dance to, then that's always a good start for that's
And
what is a lot included in sessions.
is there a story behind The Maid Behind the Bar?
I presume it's probably a fine, comely young maid that was serving drink behind the bar, possibly, but I don't know the story because a lot of people don't even know. I'm one of these people that don't know all the names to tunes either. So, but if there is one that you come up with that I do know the story, I will definitely tell you all about it.
Okay, how about the Drowsy Maggie?
Drowsy Maggie is my other half's favorite tune, and he is not into Irish music at all, but he came across this tune And he's like, I like that one. And there's also another local who loves it too. Drowsy Maggie, though the name, it's a great name. I presume it is some drunken Maggie, or slightly drunk, because Drowsy kind of, she can be tired as well. It's a great name, though.
Got it. So do you have a favorite that you look forward to playing every time you play? Something that's one that you just have such a love for that it's hard to put down and not play it at every session?
I do. I do. I have a real fondness for this lovely little tune that Jimmy and Vincent Campbell used to play. Uh, and it's one that's just so, it's just such a simple melody and simple and a beautiful. So once there's kind of simplicity in the melody, there's room for bounce within the rhythm, and it's beautiful. It's called, it's just got a local name on it. It's called Huey Owens, which means Huey Owen. In Ireland, there's a lot of people that would have similar surnames, especially on the West Coast. So there'll be like lots of Wards or lots of Boyles or lots of what else? What other Brennans or Gallaghers or O'Donnells? There'd be a lot of people in Donegal with those names. So Huey Owen was you always used to you take your father's name as well. So like my mother's name is Anne Tommy Tom, because her father was Tommy and his father was Tom. So she's Anne Tommy Tom. So this is Huey Owen. So Huey was the guy, and then Owen was his father. So and I would know the son again, Owen, Huey Owen. So we have to have all these extra names. And there's one guy, actually, Jimmy Campbell's son, Peter Campbell, and within they're quite a big family of Campbells, Jimmy and Peter, or Jimmy and Vincent and Charlie, and there's a whole gang of them, and they all have sons called Peter because their fathers were called Peter. So there's a Peter Campbell in every one of the families, and they were at a funeral. I think they were over here in England coming to a funeral, and they were stopped in a car, and the driver was asked for his ID, and he said, what's your name? And he said Peter Campbell, and then he said, who else have you got? Who else is in the car? And the person in the passenger seat looked out and he said, I'm Peter Campbell too. And the policeman said, yeah, right. And he said, what about these other two in the back? He said, I'm Peter Campbell as well. It was 4 Peter Campbells, all cousins, first cousins, all Peter Campbell.
Let me see your IDs.
Yeah. So so there's Peter Charlie, there's Peter Jimmy, there's Peter Vincey, so they all have their father's name as well for the nickname.
Got it. So you are an award-winning podcaster now, and congratulations. The main way that people interact with you is through sessionetiquette.com. Is that correct?
That's it, yeah.
And what are some of the things that are available to people on sessionetiquette.com?
At the moment, it's primarily the podcast is available there, where I interview different musicians. The podcast is called In Tune with Tradition, and then the subtitle is Perspectives of Perspectives on Session Etiquette in Irish Traditional Music. So the podcast is available there, and I interview different high-profile musicians, then not so high-profile musicians, because it's all perspectives about etiquette. It's a bit like the Chinese whispers again. We all have slightly different variations of what we think etiquette means. And so a lot of people are saying that they have listened to it, and especially like music schools as well. There's a music school that contacted me, and they said it's we've been actually teaching this for years, and our music school, our students are like, oh yeah, but it's not really going in. He said, but once they heard like Irish musicians saying it with the Irish accents, and some other high profile musicians that they were really respected, they just said, "Oh wow, now the penny has finally dropped." That they're like, "Oh right, I didn't realize they actually meant that." But so it is really helping people. And then I'm in the process of doing courses as well, and I have a week, an immersion week in Donegal, and in October. So the end of September, start of October, to help people.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, I'm excited
How,
about that.
how do you find some of these more high-profile musicians? How did you get them to come on the podcast?
I'd know them all from playing with them over the years. Yeah, that's mo mainly it. So I just kind of send a little text message or meet them at a session. Go, oh, would you mind? And it's actually started to change in the last couple of, maybe the last 2 months. So people starting to contact me as well, saying, would you think about me for your podcast? So it's turning the corner now.
And how many listeners have you?
Um, well, I have about 26,000 downloads since July, so I don't actually know how many listeners. I'll have to figure that one out, but
And does it drop every week? Do you do something every week?
I will be doing something every fortnight. As you probably know yourselves, editing is very time consuming. So I was, trying to do everything all by myself. And last week I took on an editor. So she is working with me, and we're going to be having an episode once every fortnight. Now I do have about 40 conversations already recorded.
Oh, nice.
So I love doing the
Very
conversations,
good.
man. I hate doing the editing. I hate the editing.
Yeah. We understand. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did find it was really difficult to hand over the control of the editing. It's kind of like this is a conversation that we had, and it's like our baby, and I'm handing it to somebody else to rear. It was just it was very strange. But I'm getting over it.
Yeah. How's your other half? Because you said your other half isn't really into this Irish music. Is he still supportive of this passion you have?
Yeah, it's funny. Like he wouldn't be into Irish music at all, but then the odd time, like on YouTube, he would scroll and I would hear Irish music. I'm like, what's that? What are you listening to? Or if he's trying to get my attention, he'd play. He'll let it play for quite a while. So and then I'll come running up, going, "Who's that? Who's that? Who's that?" And I'm like, "Is it a female fiddle player?" And we're trying to do a game then.
Yeah.
One of the things that occurs in the United States, there's this show called Bridgerton. And Bridgerton is famous for taking settings from the 17th century and taking modern pop songs and arranging them for the kind of the quartets and the symphonies, so that you would hear like a Billie Eilish song as the background but no Billie Eilish, it's just the melody.
Oh, right.
So,
Yeah, that's good.
So in the session environment, in the session universe, are there places where modern pop songs find a new perch in that arrangement environment?
Yes, the odd time. I think you probably hear them more on recordings rather than in sessions. So maybe like a band might decide to record like a pop song as an instrumental version with no words. And it's funny, one of the episodes that I recorded was with Kevin Crawford, who is a flute player from the band Lunasa, and he grew up in Birmingham, actually where I am today. There'd be quite a lot of Irish immigrants here in Birmingham, in England. So he grew up here, but it was a very, very Irish household. And he said he had one of his favorite CDs that was on, maybe, in the household, was the Dedanan Star Spangled Molly album from, when was that? The 80s, early 80s. And he said on that album they had recorded Hey Jude, the Beatles song. So they had kind of recorded like a traditional music and Irish kind of folk music kind of type version of Hey Jude. And he said he learned that that tune, thinking it was an Irish music tune, and he went into a session and played the tune, played Hey Jude, and somebody turned around and said, "Oh yeah," he's like, that's the Beatles song," and he was like, "Who the hell are the Beatles?" And him from Birmingham, only like 80 kilometers away.
That's funny because John Lennon in a documentary recently said that the Beatles were Irish because in Liverpool, it's mostly Irish immigrants in Liverpool.
As well.
And so
Absolutely. Yeah.
he said that with the exception of Ringo, who's not from there, he was making a joke, of course. But are there any other examples? Well, let me ask it this way. If with the Beatles song Hey Jude, it's so well recognized, but if someone were to sit down in a session and play something even more popular but less attuned, shall we say, to that idiom, do people sort of frown on that? Is it considered out of etiquette to bring in a melody that
I think it depends on the session. I mean, if it's a session that you're there with your own friends and you're joking around, like I mean, some sessions people might play the match of the day, you know, that like the sports. I think it's a British TV program. They play it as a polka. And you know, it's kind of funny when it's with your friends and it's, you know, you're fooling around and joking around. But if you were to go into a session and you didn't know anybody and you'd come out with something like that, yeah, I think it would be kind of poor etiquette. You know, you're kind of, because if you're in a session and you're coming to a session, it's all about teamwork. So if it's a team effort and it's all fun and games, it's perfect. But if you're not part of that team already, then I would just stick to the basics, stick to the common traditional tunes that you know everybody else will know.
and are you supporting yourself through something else, or how are you making this all work for you and your family?
Oh, that's a great question. That's the big question I have. Until about 2 years ago, I was running my dad's construction company. I was a builder. He passed away in 2014 and I took over. He passed away quite suddenly, so I took over. And then it was just too much work. So it was too stressful. It was grand, and you know, I think everything takes about 8 years for you to kind of grow it, and then you're like, right, I'm kind of an 8 year cycle person. So after 8 years, I was like, I'm getting to the end of the tether now at this stage. So I kind of got out by the 9th year, and this past 3 years until last month, I was on the basic income for artists in Ireland as well. So the government decided they would give us a basic income, which was really good and allowed me to just, you know, I was able to have the space to be creative, and this podcast came out of it. So yeah, I have to learn how to make money out of this podcast or something. So please tell me.
Does doing the podcast impact your ability to collect the basic income?
No, the basic income has finished now at the moment. I was on the pilot scheme and they're introducing the new scheme in September. So, and they're only introducing it for 2,000 artists at the moment. So I probably won't get on it again. So I'm going to have to try and figure out how to make money.
Yeah. Well,
let's hope you do get on it.
Yeah.
It'd be great. Yeah.
Well, you've won 5 podcasting awards, so you're a good investment.
That's it. Well, I think it'll probably be random choice again, like the pilot scheme. I was lucky to get on the pilot scheme. That was random choice because 9,000 artists applied for it and 2,000 were successful. And it was just random lottery. So yeah, I would imagine it'll be random lottery again. Yeah. So I still play music and I do little bits of talks and things, and yeah, so I'm never, and I do tour guiding as well. So during the summer I kind of do some of the cruise ship buses that come off into Donegal and show them around Donegal because I love where I'm from. I'm very proud of where I'm from, so I love showing people around.
So one of the ways that you make revenue, I'm assuming, is from your workshops.
Yes, that too. Yeah.
So there's, for those of you who might be interested, there's my first session, which is a 6-week introduction to Irish music sessions programming. Then there's the Start Your Session Journey, which is a 90-day program that goes deeper into the unspoken rules of Irish music sessions. And then, as you said before, there's a retreat coming up, and you said that's in October, right?
Yes, yeah. I almost forgot about the workshops. Sorry, I'm so bad at promoting myself, aren't I?
Well, that's what my job is as your host, is to remind everyone.
Thank you. Could you be my PR person?
You can't afford me. And I'm not worth any of it. But I'm super happy to have you here. And I think something Greg said a moment ago when he mentioned, well, let's hope that you are selected.
Yeah.
There's a mindset there of feeling like it's not possible or it's not likely, versus being in the possibility that something good is about to happen. And you have evidence now. Like if I'd asked you when you started the podcast, are you going to be a 5-time award winner? You would have said, not likely.
You'll be like, what?
All right. So I'm just taking this moment to encourage you to think of the possibilities to build on this platform and how important your work in the podcast is to the culture and the people of Ireland and the Irish diaspora.
Yeah, it is very important, because there's always that anxiety about joining sessions, and even just the unknowns, and it can be so overwhelming if somebody has, especially maybe adult learners, because if you're a youngster growing up through the music, as a youngster, it's much easier to tell a youngster, maybe don't do that yet, or hold off a little minute. There's kind of, as adults, we're able to say that to youngsters, and they're able to accept it, and it just washes off them. They don't take offense by anything at all like that. They're just like, okay, that's what it's, because I'm just learning. Okay, right, well, that's what it is. Whereas as an adult learning music, and you go into a session, you've got all these you've maybe taken up the instrument for the first time, so it's a new instrument. There's all these new tunes. Then you go into a session and with people, and there's all these new people. So you're like, that's an overwhelm of new things, and then you have to learn all these rules. It's like, oh my God. And then along with that, the musicians who are there, the skilled musicians who are, have been there, the regulars have been there all the time, then they don't feel like they can say something to their adult peers, even though they might not be peers in terms of skill level, but they're peers in terms of adults. And so that, if you said, sorry, maybe just hold off there, that's a really hard thing to say to another adult. So therefore, Irish people just say nothing.
How many do you think are part of that group of adult learners who would like to join a session but are too afraid? How many? Is it thousands? Is it hundreds of thousands?
I would say there's definitely thousands, because there's a lot. Irish music is really popular all over the world. It is like crazy. It's almost like people think of it as a genre, almost like classical music. It's almost like a genre onto itself, which is kind of, it's dumbfounding at the same time. And even like today, St. Patrick's Day, what other country has their national holiday celebrated by 200 countries around the world? It's crazy.
Yeah. So with thousands of adult learners
That's true.
wanting to know how to be part of a session etiquette, that means there's thousands of customers for your workshop.
Well, the possibility, yeah. Just reaching them now, and yeah.
It just got easier because now you're a 5-time award winner.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, see, he is good. You are good.
It bugs great.
What's the name of the Irish band that is internationally known, and they had that famous Christmas album, The Bells of Dublin? Shoot.
Pogues?
The Pogues.
No,
okay.
no.
Is it no?
It's a more traditional. They did an album with Yo-Yo Ma that was a combination of what I would believe is Irish session music and classical.
Was it the Chieftains?
The Chieftains. That's them.
Yeah.
Is that considered session music?
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's session music, but on a stage. And Paddy Maloney died there a couple of years ago, so
Right.
I suppose the Chieftains don't be on tour. He really was the person who really pushed the Chieftains. He was a really great PR man, and I remember I used to work in local government where we would help musicians or help artists, kind of the business side of things, and we'd always get maybe a conference or a talk, and we had Paddy Maloney one year talking, and he was so generous with his information. I couldn't believe it. He was so generous with his information.
Well, my experience with him was that he was very traditional and also showing that these traditions can open up to like the world of classical. Or I think they might have even done a combination with Nashville music. Like he seemed very open to remaining traditional while pushing past boundaries.
Yeah, I think they even did on one of those albums, like they collaborated with Sting and different musicians, very well musicians, very, very well known popular musicians as well.
Right.
So,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, it is great because Irish music is considered, a lot of people do love Irish music regardless of what genre they play in. I think probably the most people that don't like Irish music are Irish people.
Why is that?
That
I mean,
opens up a whole time.
it does. Yeah, it does. It's something that a lot of people outside of the country can't understand, and even I can't understand either. But I suppose what's on your doorstep, you don't really appreciate it until most Irish people love Irish music. Once they go outside of Ireland, they're like, oh yeah, that's Irish music. But if they're inside Irish music, they're like, oh, that old diddly eye shite. Excuse my language.
No problem. We are not worried about language on this podcast.
Oh, great.
I have a couple of different ideas. I'm going to go with the first one, and then I'll ask the second one unless Greg comes up with something he wants to say. So I have a list of what we'll call new Irish music blends of traditional.
Okay.
And I'm going to name some bands, and I want you to say thumbs up, thumbs down, or I don't know.
Okay. Hopefully I know them. Yeah.
All right. So here's the first of several. Lankum.
I
Dropkick
love
Murphys.
Lankum. Sorry, who? Drop. I don't know the second.
Dropkick Murphys.
I have no idea who Dropkick Murphys are.
All right. The Scratch.
Never heard.
Kneecap.
I actually haven't heard Kneecap, but I know. Actually, I have heard one song of theirs. Yeah, and it's a song. I Run the Scadania. It's a song about a fish. It's from Donegal, where I'm from. It's from one of the islands there, and it's a great song. So
Okay, we'll do it.
yeah, I haven't heard much of them.
The Merry Wallopers.
I know some of the Merry Wallopers. Yeah, they come to a pub locally. Yeah.
And so you know them. Is that positive? Up, thumbs down?
Oh yeah. Thumbs up. Yeah.
Okay. And then Fontaine's DC.
They'd be more pop culture, wouldn't they? I haven't heard them. Sorry, I rarely listen to pop music. Sorry.
Got it. They're pop. The Gurriers.
Oh, that's an interesting name, but I don't know them.
Got it. They are a band of high energy post-punk and satire. So that concludes our quick jump through of strange Irish band names. So my next follow-up question is, in America, we have, and I'm sure in the other 200 countries that celebrate St. Paddy's Day, we have our own sort of view on what it all means and the iconography of it. And honestly, it's a day where cultural misappropriation is celebrated in America. So what are the things about St. Patrick's Day that most people in international arenas miss?
If you're in Ireland, you'll probably rarely say the words St. Patrick's Day. You'll always call it Paddy's Day. So not with a T, but with D, Paddy. My dog is called Paddy. Paddy's Day. It's kind of just another bank holiday, really. And yeah, but we look forward to having a day off always. Who doesn't love a day off? Most musicians, it will be the day where we get to earn the most amount of money that we can earn for the whole year. So, you know, you might earn 3 times what you would normally get at a normal gig. So, it's our kind of favorite day. We're like, yay, we can charge better money than we normally can. Or you'd normally would get gigs outside of Ireland.
What is the cultural references that most people miss internationally? What is it about Paddy's Day that's it's part of the culture, but that we don't get it, right?
There is a cultural thing in Ireland. It's not necessarily about Paddy's Day, but it's one of those idiosyncrasies about being Irish that you have to, it's like there's a rule of 3 if you ask for something. So if we're in the bar together and say, Mark, Greg, do you just want a drink? You have to refuse for the first twice before you're allowed to accept them.
Okay.
You have to say, oh no, it's grand, because the first time is like you think the Irish person will think, oh, they're only just being nice. They're asking because they're being nice. And then, because this happened to me in New York recently, somebody asked me, did we want to go out for like food after the awards? And I was like, oh no, you're grand. And he was like, I said, no, you don't have to, invite me just because I'm here. And he was like, I'm inviting you because I want you to come. Whereas we don't see that in Ireland. It's not clear cut. We're very subtle and underhand. So the first time so your first question, the first ask is only for just to be nice. The second ask then, are you sure? It's like, well, maybe they would like it, but you're not allowed to, you're not allowed quite to say yes because you don't want to put the person out of their way. So like, only if you're going anyway, only if you're going to the bar anyway, then the third time you're like, I am going to the bar. What would you like? So then you have to ask 3 times before you actually get the answer of what they want to drink, and then you're expected then to reciprocate.
So are Americans seen as very forward because we'll say yes on the first ask?
It's not just Americans, everybody. So I have like Australian.
The whole world.
Yeah. I have Australian friends and German friends. They're like, yes. And you're like, well, that's a bit rude. You're supposed to say no.
Well, you offered. Why would you offer? No.
Because we offered to be nice, and then it's like, but yeah, there's like 2 layers before you can get down into what you actually offer.
What else about Paddy's Day is not commonly understood across the globe?
We rarely wear green. I'm wearing green today because I'm outside of Ireland. And normally if I'm playing music, we'd wear green, but most Irish people probably wouldn't be caught wearing green on Paddy's Day. If they're in Ireland, although I think that's kind of changed, especially with so much TV coverage and on it, then they kind of do like wear green hats and things. So it has got a lot bigger in Dublin. There's a big parade, but the small parades like around the rest of the country are very, very small, and they probably happen maybe because they're in my local area. There might be 2 or 3 bands that kind of that you've seen the marching bands that walk up and down the street during St. Patrick's Day parades. And so there might only be 3 bands in the area, so they can't go to all the parades on the same day. So therefore, maybe since Sunday, there might have been a parade on Saturday, and then there might be another one in another village on a Sunday, and then somewhere today has the one on St. Patrick's Day. So it might be spread out, and they'd be very small. It'd be kind of for kids, it's just kind of a thing where kids come to see. There might be a couple of floats Do you have that word as well? Floats in the
Yes.
parade?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. So they might have floats in the parade with maybe some spectacle that might be in the news or something, or be just kind of a locally made kind of parade float, and it's a bit of fun. And then everybody goes home, or some people go to the pub, or So it's not a huge day really. It's kind of like it's just a day off, and
So
that's
one of the things that is so enthralling and enchanting for people across the globe is to look outside of their limited view and see another culture and be intrigued and enchanted and inspired, right? So we might look at Italy and we think, oh, the food or the architect, right? Or we might think Japan and we go, oh my goodness, the technology, the sophistication, right, and all of those things. And in Ireland, we have this idea of strong people with convictions, right? And then Paddy's Day is also this idea that we get excited by it because we think it's a certain kind of tradition for y'all, and it's what you're saying is that it's less than that. So what is something that you, as an Irish person, what culture do you look at and feel a sense of magic about?
oh. I mean, there's still here. You would still think of like the land of dreams is America. Like that's always thought of as somewhere that anything could happen. You could turn your life into anything you wanted it to be. Now I grew up. My father was very much that kind of a person. You can be what you want to be. So I didn't see that I had to go abroad for that. But a lot of people would see that they, would maybe anything can happen if they go to America. I mean, even the fact that the NYC Awards, the New York City Podcasting Awards, I mean that for people in Ireland, it's just like that's crazy. You've won awards. You're like, I mean, I might as well be Jessie Buckley, like that's that just won the Oscar, the best actress. I might as well be her
Right,
because it just feels like it's so ginormous. This little podcast from the small little village in Ireland could win 5 awards at a podcasting awards in America, in New York. It's very cosmopolitan. So yeah, I think that's always going to be the land of dreams.
Well, congratulations for those wins, Tara. And I hope you allow yourself to feel a moment of acceptance and integration, if not pride, in that achievement.
We're not allowed in Ireland. We're not allowed to have any of those feelings. There's too much guilt.
Understood.
It might be seen as having notions. We're not allowed to have notions.
Got it. Well, I have a notion that this is not the last award for you.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And I know I speak for Greg and I when I say we're very grateful that you got through all of the different challenges that you had to get through to be here today with us. And it worked out great that we could have you on this most auspicious day, Paddy's Day. What a treat to have you. And of course, we will put the links to your website, to the sessionetiquette.com, and let you know when it's published. But we have one other question that we ask all of our guests. And it's a lovely question. It means a lot to us, and it's a musical question. So you're in good shape. So
Great.
Greg, go ahead.
Well, I'm kind of willing to break tradition on today. What do you think, Mark? I have a different question.
Said that to you. You've said
he's
no.
got notions. He said he's got notions.
Right,
So I'm going to hold
exactly.
you accountable to not breaking the tradition.
All right. So here it is, Tara.
Is this the breaking of tradition, or is this the keeping him?
This is the traditional question. Eminem or Foo Fighters? Did you hear the question? Okay.
I did. It's like I actually haven't really heard either too much. I'm embarrassed to say. Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't think I've ever. I don't think I've ever heard Foo Fighters. That's awful. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Foo Fighters, if you're listening.
So you have heard of Eminem?
I have like maybe one song or something which I didn't like. So if Foo Fighters are any way better than that, then I'm sorry.
This is why we love this question, because we never get the same answer twice.
I'm really sorry. I think once I got into Irish music when I was about 15, 16, it's just like I never want to listen to anything else again. And I just like I've kind of kept on that path of either listening to Irish music or world music, folk musics from other worlds or other countries. And so yeah, if you ask me about any sort of folk music from different countries, absolutely. But pop music, I know nothing, sweet nothing about it.
Well, would you consider reggae a folk music?
I would consider it more of a pop kind of, slightly more pop towards the pop culture than the folk. Well, it is kind of folk as well, but I suppose it's more popularized. Are Foo Fighters reggae? No, I don't know. I don't know.
They're rock musicians.
I can't believe this is going out live. How embarrassing.
Don't be embarrassed. We have
I
zero
think it's
viewers
brilliant.
right
It's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. It's a brilliant. It's one of the best answers ever. All right, here was the alternative: Chieftains or U2.
Oh no, that would be a tough one. Because I do like U2 as well. But I mean, the Chieftains are great. I mean, they're the heroes of Irish music. Some of them. I mean, Matt Malloy on the flute, amazing musician. And Sean Keane, he's passed away as well. Yeah, I mean, they were sweet as well. They're sweet people. So, I think I'd go for the Chieftains.
Do you think Bono would ever like to be prime minister?
Do you know, he probably wouldn't be doing a bad job. I really loved our last president, our former president, Michael D. Higgins. He was such a sweet man, and I always said I wanted to play for him, and I never got around to it. So, yeah, maybe someday.
Maybe one day it'll be you, Tara.
Do you know? I don't love being in a job where you can't satisfy anyone.
Oh, that's good.
So wise. You're so wise. Thank you for that. What a brilliant thought.
That is so hard to do, you know. Oh my God, because I think I did earlier on think about, well, I went to politics and it's like, oh, do you know what? No, you can't please it's hard enough to try and please somebody, but not being able to please anyone, that's really difficult. Have to live with that all your life? No.
So as we part here and we end the show, is there a traditional Irish phrase that you'd like to leave us with in parting?
Let me think now. A traditional Irish phrase. Here is a say. Is that one of you? Or is that me?
Yeah, the noise. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. This is a saying my dad always said, and it's a kind of a little bit of not a tongue twister, but one of those kind of rhymes or
limerick.
No, it's not quite a limerick. What is it? One of those ones that you have to figure out.
A riddle.
A riddle. Thank you. Sorry. I've been traveling a lot for the last 2 days. There's not a lot of sleep happened. So it's what's rare is dear. A horse for a penny is rare. Therefore, a horse for a penny is dear.
Thank you so much, Tara. You've been dear to us in this quest to have this conversation. We are so happy and grateful to have had you.
Oh, thank you so much. When are you coming to Ireland to visit?
When I get picked for the artist lotto.
I like it. You have to be a resident.
Okay. Well, that isn't going to happen.
Well, thank you so much to the both of you.